1. It sounds like a bad joke, but somehow the doctor, the patient, and the poet find themselves in a heated discussion about comic books. And as these discussions always go, we end up with the question, if you could have one superhero's power, what would it be? Now, maybe it's just from being in a hospital for the first time in a while and feeling a little overwhelmed, but right away, I say Wolverine. Now, if you don't know, Wolverine's superpower is a supercharged immune system, the ability to fight off illness and injury, to heal almost instantly. And of course, he also has big metal claws that like pop out of his arms, but anyways. The patient picks Green Lantern. It makes a lot of sense. You see, the Green Lantern's power is derived from will, the ability to overcome adversity through sheer force of determination. It's a beautiful thought, and not at all comic book make-believe. This kid is doing that already. And the doctor, well, he thinks for a second, and finally says Batman. And immediately we throw our hands up. Batman doesn't have any superpowers. He's just a guy who dresses up like a bat and drives a cool car. But the doctor smiles. That's the point, he says. Batman is just some guy who cares. And what could be more powerful than that? 2, if you have never been to the Amplatz Children's Hospital in Minneapolis before, it looks like a superhero's headquarters. Shining blue and green in the Minnesota sunrise, a fortress carved from ice, an enormous tree with roots reaching deep to some magical underground wellspring, a hospital, but a very pretty hospital. The rooms feature huge windows and plasma TVs, vibrant colors, and pictures of animals, frogs, turtles, giraffes, and more, pictures of life. There's a sign in the entryway that says, kids need more than medicine to get well. 3, but the medicine does help. As we travel from room to room, the doctor tells us cancer is not just one disease. It's a complex web of conditions and variables and treatment options. And with some types, if we get to it early enough, we can beat it. With others, we're still working. But this is the research. We are learning how to take care of these kids. There is no book here. We are writing the book. Imagine Superman sitting down to draw his own comic. Imagine Wonder Woman not just saving people's lives, but taking the time to get to know them, to joke with them, to comfort them, to build real relationships. I don't believe in superheroes, but watching these doctors work, watching these families support each other, and watching these kids fight, I start to believe in superpowers. See, one little boy is a technicolor explosion of joy when his parents walk in the room. His mother had promised him that she'd dye her hair purple if he would shave his. But the purple turned to blue and then bleach blonde and then kind of orange, but you make do. One young woman moves at the speed of light. From not knowing that anything was wrong to being in chemo in 2 weeks, she says. It's crazy how fast things can happen. We had all these plans, and they all had to change. Still, she finds a way to look on the bright side. I have perfect essay topics for college applications now, she says. A tiny little girl flies down a hallway, dancing to some song that none of us can hear. Another girl describes herself as the world's biggest needle phobe. It's a common thread. No one seems to complain about the existential unfairness of the situation. They just don't like needles. Or they miss eating lunch with their friends at school, or their little brother is demanding the bigger half of the sandwich because after all, my bone marrow saved your life. Nah, nah, nah. One family packed up their son, their belongings, and their enormous Long Island accents and moved to Minnesota, knowing that this was the only place in the world where the research was being done that could help their child. And sure enough, the doctors found some connection. The work isn't even published yet, but every patient is a puzzle piece. Every struggle is not just the struggle for one life, but for millions. 4, when I found out that my mother had cancer, I did not throw a chair across the room or kick the coffee table over. I did not curse the universe, pull my hair out, or punch through the drywall. I asked her, so what do we do next? And perhaps this is the most human, superhuman power, the ability to find love in our bitterness, resolve in our panic, and purpose in our pain. 5, the researcher is that special blend of excited and frustrated that all very smart people are. We live in an age of endless wonders, of the infinite potential of science and technology, but between bureaucracy, the bad economy, and simple politics, our hearts can't always run as fast as our brains. But still, this researcher smiles, because for all the hurdles, for all the disappointments, amazing things are happening right now. I don't think it's a pipe dream to beat cancer, he says. You may be desensitized, you may be like, where's the cure? But I can see it. Technology is driving innovation, and support from organizations like the Children's Cancer Research Fund is allowing us to try new things, to test ideas that are expensive and complex and outside the box, but potentially powerful, potentially game-changing. It's right there. 6. She's had as many brain tumors as she's had years on this earth. Insurance denied a stem cell transplant, so here she is, the youngest patient in the world, part of this clinical trial. No home to go to beyond the Ronald McDonald House, and here, this room. She's not really a princess, but don't tell her that. Her mother loves her the way that darkness falls in a hospital room, spilling through the windows, soaking into every space, every hollow, all-consuming. She tells me, if it weren't for this research, I would have to say goodbye to my daughter. She looks at her daughter, places a sticker in the shape of a royal crown on her forehead, and laughs. 7. My grandmother always used to tell me, the best kind of prayer involves getting your hands dirty. Hope is not something you find at the end of a rainbow or falling down from heaven. Hope is something you build with whatever materials you have access to, whether love or money or intellect or toys or medicine or words. Hope is not some mystical, unknowable energy floating through the ether above our heads. Hope is a family packing up their lives and moving from Texas to Minnesota. Hope is another family losing their first child to cancer and deciding to take a chance on something different for their second. Hope is college prep courses taken over Skype, a calendar with horses on it and Incredible Hulk underwear. Hope is a young man losing his grandmother to cancer and deciding right then and there to get better biology grades so we can get into the research field and fight back. Hope is the look on your face when you make the decision to try a new treatment against the odds, taking a child's life in your hands because it might not work, but it might. Hope is 800 people in the same place at the same time, united by nothing more than the capacity to care. Hope is the sound of yourself breaking open, the superhero that lives inside you climbing out and cracking their knuckles. Hope is in every child's smile, every parent's embrace, every doctor's and researcher's late-night notebook scribblings. Hope is right here. We've all seen the blueprints. We've all watched this book being written before our eyes, and we've all read the sign. Kids need more than medicine to get well. They need more than love, more than support, more than funding for research, more than their own strength, more than brilliant doctors, more than prayers. They need all of these things together. And the most beautiful part of this story is that we have all of these things together. That's power. That's hope, and that is a reason to keep fighting.